Hi, welcome to James Miller Lifeology, where you will learn to simplify and transform your life. I am James Miller, a licensed professional counselor and a composer. In the past few episodes, we've discussed perception and how it affects our emotions and how it affects our actions. And we talked about the 15 most common thinking errors that you kind of slap over your perception, which kind of skew it, which then changes your emotions, which then changes your actions. In the last episode, we discussed the roles that we play. You know, the role of the clinician right now, the role of the friend, the role as the whatever those particular roles in our life, and how to really be aware that we cannot multitask those roles. But what happens is when we switch to a different role, we often don't build in a transition. So the episode today really talks about the transitions that we need to make. So transition, so as we're children, or when you have children, you have them go through transitions. You have them kind of wind down for bedtime. You know, they have maybe 10 minutes to watch TV, or then they have to take a bath, then they have to brush their teeth, then they have to, you know, they get tucked in, and can maybe have, can read a book, or whatever the different rituals are that you have at night. So we plan that in for them throughout the day, because structure and transition helps them wind down. And if you haven't done that as much with your children, that's something else we'll discuss as far as how to build those transitions in. But as an adult, we also need those transitions. I know for me, if I know I'm going to be have a professional meeting later on, I will plan for that. And so I'll build my day around that. I'll build my structure around that. So the same type of thing. Let's say you're still at work, and you're very, very busy at work, but then you have to go home and you have a family at home. So building in that transition. Sometimes people say, well, James, on the drive home, that's going to be my transition. And if that's all you have, then that's all you have. But that's really not a transition, because as you're driving home, you're not really able to take that time of doing something that's really important for you. So, you know, if you are able to get home, I always tell people to take a 10-minute transition. So as soon as you come in the house, you do something for 10 minutes that's specifically for you. Some people will just go take a shower, because in that physical sensation, it kind of literally washes everything off for the day. Some people will go play video games. Some people will go, listen to music. But it's so important to build in a transition. So that's something to do right away. Now the thing is, let's say you're at work and you have, sometimes people say, well, James, I have so many things I have to do at work. You know, I'm the bookkeeper, I'm the counselor at work, or I'm the HR person. So the thing is, we put on these different hats. So it's still the role that you're playing, but you have to put in these different hats. So for me, if I'm going to do a project, I have to say, all right, James, right now, this is what I'm going to do. So I build in a transition to take 30 seconds in my mind to say, all right, I'm going to leave whatever it was I was doing before, I'm going to leave that behind, and I'm simply going to focus on this. So whatever emotions I may have had about the other role within my job description, then I have to leave that aside. So if I'm frustrated because some things with HR are not working, then I have to take that 30-second transition in my mind to say, I'm going to leave that behind, and now I'm going to focus specifically on that. So once again, it's a compartmentalization to really be mindful to say, am I bringing something new into this new transition? So it's a bigger role, could be from work to home, or it could be within your actual job description that you're doing at work or with your friends. You want to make sure that you can really separate those two things by making that transition. So sometimes we literally have to say aloud, like for me, I'll say, all right, James, I'm going to do this. So saying something aloud actually makes me focus on that, which slightly switches it in my head, and then I can actually do it. I will later on discuss the 5 senses, how to influence us in positive ways, and how it can also influence us with addictions. But going back to what I was saying, if I have to say this aloud, it then allows me to literally make that transition to slowly move myself into something that I know I need to do next. So I really want us to build those things in. When it comes to the morning, we have to have a transition in the morning to really start our day. So many times we start our day in a very hectic way. And in that hectic way, it leads to hectic behaviors. And so the transitional time in the morning, if that's getting up 10 minutes early to do something for yourself, then you get up 10 minutes early because you build in a transition. And as the way you start your day is the way your day is going to go. So you being proactive in starting this transition in the morning will then afford you the ability to take 30 seconds in the next thing you're going to do, or take 20 minutes, or take whatever it might be, that mental break you need to have to move yourself into this next role. Because if we don't find that moment of introspection, we're just going to go so fast into the next thing, and we're not going to be as efficient as we could be. So remember, yesterday we talked about the specific roles, what my identity in that moment. But now we want to make sure that we can do it in a very fluid way of switching from role to role in a very proactive stance by taking a mini transition in our mind or in our action or speaking aloud to solidify that that transition is being made. And that is what's going to help you have a much more successful, productive day is when you build these transitions in. So I really want to thank you once again for sitting here and listening to this. Thank you once again for subscribing to the channel. If this was something that made sense for you, please go ahead and thumbs up this video. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Have a good day.